The hospital called. Your 8-year-old is in critical condition, 3rd degree. When I arrived, my daughter whispered, "Dad." Stepmom held my hands on the stove. She said thieves get burned. I only took bread because I was hungry. When police reviewed the footage, my ex tried to run. The doctor's voice was clinical, detached. 3rd degree on both hands. Surgery required within 12 hours or she'll lose function permanently. I stared at him, at his scrubs, at the hospital badge that said, Dr. Ahmad Rashid, pediatric burn specialist, 14 years. What? The word came out wrong, too quiet. Your daughter, Emma, she's in room 247. The burns are severe. We need parental consent for... I was already running, down the corridor, past nurses, past families in waiting rooms, past a janitor mopping floors, with that sharp chemical smell that made my eyes water. Room 247. The door was half open. Emma lay in the bed, so small she barely made a shape under the white sheets. Both hands were wrapped in thick gauze bandages, elevated on pillows. IV lines snaked into her left arm. Monitors beeped a steady rhythm that should have been comforting but just sounded like countdown timers. Her face was pale, drained of color, eyes red and swollen from crying. She turned her head when I entered. "Dad." Her voice broke something inside me. I grabbed the chair beside her bed, dragged it close, sat down hard enough that the plastic groaned. "Baby, what happened?" My hands hovered over hers, terrified to touch her. Tears spilled down her cheeks. Stepmom held my hands on the stove. The room tilted. She said thieves get burned. Emma's breath hitched. Each word came out like broken glass. I only took bread because I was hungry. My blood stopped moving. What? The bread was for sandwiches, in the box on the counter. I just wanted... She sobbed, her whole body shaking. I was so hungry, Dad. The custody arrangement was every other week. 1 week with me in my apartment on J Street. 1 week with her mother Jessica and Jessica's husband Derek in their house on Maple Ridge. 50-50 custody, court-ordered, mediated by Family Court Services after 18 months of fighting. Fair and equitable, Judge Sandra Martinez had said 2 years ago during the divorce proceedings. Both parents have equal rights to the child. I'd noticed things over the past 6 months. Small things I'd tried to rationalize away. Emma had lost weight. Her cheeks looked hollow. Her clothes hung loose on her frame like they were 2 sizes too big. She's a picky eater, Jessica had said when I'd asked during a custody handoff. You know how kids are. She wants chicken nuggets and French fries, nothing healthy. I'm trying to teach her better eating habits. That had made sense at the time. Jessica was always concerned about appearances, about doing things the right way. Emma wore long sleeves in July, even at the community pool during my weeks. She's self-conscious about her arms, Jessica had explained when I'd mentioned it. Girls that age, they get weird about their bodies. It's a phase. My therapist says not to make a big deal about it. Emma flinched when I raised my voice. Not yelling, just firm. Emma, homework before TV would make her physically recoil. She's sensitive, Derek had said the one time I'd brought it up, smiling that easy smile of his. Corporate sales manager, always smooth, always had an answer. She gets overwhelmed easily. Jessica and I are working with her school counselor on emotional regulation. I should have pushed harder. I should have looked closer. I should have ignored their explanations and trusted my gut. But divorced parents second-guess everything. You're always worried about being the problem, about being controlling, about your ex claiming you're interfering with their parenting time. So I'd accepted their explanations, and Emma had paid the price. The doctor said you need surgery, I whispered, my voice barely working. For your hands, to fix the tissue damage. Will they work again? Emma's eyes searched mine, desperate, terrified. 8 years old and already learning that bodies can be broken. Yes, baby, they will. I didn't know if that was true, but I needed her to believe it. Needed her to have hope. A nurse entered, middle-aged black woman with kind eyes and braids pulled back in a neat bun. Her badge read, Sharon Miller, RN, Pediatric ICU, 16 years. She checked Emma's vitals with practiced efficiency, her movements gentle around the bandaged hands. Mr. Torres, she said quietly, the police are here. They need to speak with you. My stomach dropped. Now? Yes, sir. It's about Emma's injuries. They're waiting outside. I looked at Emma. Her eyes were closing, the pain medication pulling her under. I'll be right back, baby, I whispered. Right outside the door. She nodded weakly. 2 detectives stood in the hallway. One was tall, Latino, maybe 45, dark hair graying at the temples, sharp suit that had seen better days. The other was shorter, Asian woman, 50s, with observant eyes that seemed to catalog everything. I'm Detective Luis Martinez, Sacramento PD, Crimes Against Children Unit, 15 years on the force. This is Detective Grace Chen, 22 years. Chen nodded. We need to ask you about your daughter's injuries, Mr. Torres. My ex-wife did this. The words tasted like acid coming up my throat. Jessica Burns. She held Emma's hands on a stove burner. Martinez pulled out a notepad, clicked his pen. How do you know that? Emma told me, just now, in the room. We need more than victim testimony, Chen said gently but firmly. Defense attorneys argue accidents, misunderstandings, he said, she said. 8-year-olds make unreliable witnesses in court. We need physical evidence. Medical reports help, but do they have security cameras? Martinez cut in, his eyes sharp. At the house where this happened? My brain caught up. Yes, Derek, Jessica's husband. He's paranoid about break-ins. He installed a whole system last year. Ring doorbells, indoor cameras, the works. Kitchen, living room, hallways. We need access, Chen said immediately. Do you have login credentials? I pulled out my phone with shaking hands, opened the Safe Home app. Derek had given me the login 8 months ago during a custody handoff when Emma had forgotten her backpack and I'd needed to check if it was visible in any of the camera feeds. In case you ever need to verify something, Derek had said, acting like the reasonable stepdad. Co-parenting is all about transparency. I handed Martinez my phone. Password is Derek 2024 with a capital D. Martinez tapped through screens, his expression neutral at first. Then his jaw tightened. A muscle jumped in his cheek. Chen leaned over his shoulder, squinting at the screen. Her face went hard. Professional mask slipping for just a second, revealing the rage underneath. Jesus Christ, she whispered. What? I stepped closer, trying to see the screen. What is it? Martinez turned the phone toward me. Mr. Torres, you should prepare yourself. The screen showed the kitchen. Yesterday's date stamp in the corner. September 26th, 4:47 p.m. Emma reaching into a bread box on the counter, taking out a slice of bread, just one slice. Jessica entering the frame from the left, fast. Her body language screaming fury even in silent footage. Grabbing Emma's wrist with her right hand. Dragging her, Emma's feet sliding on the tile toward the stove. Turning on the front right burner with her free hand. The coil glowing red within seconds. Jessica pressing Emma's small hands, both of them, palms down, flat onto the burner. Emma's mouth opened in a scream the silent footage couldn't capture. Her whole body jerking, trying to pull away. Jessica holding her there, holding her. 14 seconds, I counted them. Couldn't stop counting them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Then Jessica released her. Emma collapsed to the floor, cradling her hands against her chest. Jessica stood over her, saying something, pointing at her, angry, self-righteous. Then she walked out of frame, left Emma there on the kitchen floor. I turned away and vomited into a hallway trash can. Where are they now? Martinez's voice was tight, controlled, the kind of control that comes from seeing too much evil and having to stay professional anyway. I wiped my mouth with the back of my hand. The house, probably. Jessica texted me yesterday asking to keep Emma an extra day. Said she had a big school project due Monday and needed help finishing it. Chen was already on her phone. Dispatch, this is Detective Chen. Badge 4721. I need units at 1847 Maple Ridge Drive immediately. Suspects in aggravated child abuse case. Approach with caution. Female suspect may be violent. Male suspect on premises. Martinez looked at me. Stay with your daughter. We're going there now. I want to, I started. No. His voice left no room for argument. You stay with your daughter. She needs you here. This is our job. Let us do it. They left at a near run. Martinez talking into his radio. Chen already pulling up GPS on her phone. I walked back into Emma's room on legs that didn't feel attached to my body. Emma was awake, staring at the ceiling with unfocused eyes. I sat beside her, took her arm gently, the only part of her I could hold without causing pain. The police are going to get Jessica and Derek, I said quietly. Stepmom, Emma corrected automatically. Then her voice went flat, empty. She said I'm greedy. She said I eat too much, that I'm wasting their food, that I'm getting fat. Emma weighed 53 pounds. I knew because the nurse had told me an hour ago when taking her vitals. She was 8 years old. The average weight for an 8-year-old girl is 65 pounds. She was 12 pounds underweight. She said, if I steal food again, she'll burn my face next time. Emma closed her eyes. Tears leaked from the corners. So people can see what thieves look like. So everyone will know what I am. My hands curled into fists so tight my nails bit into my palms, leaving little crescent marks. 40 minutes later, my phone buzzed. Martinez. We have Jessica Burns in custody. I closed my eyes. Thank God. She attempted to flee through the back door when we arrived. Made it about 20 feet before Officer Rodriguez tackled her. She's got some scratches, but nothing serious. And Derek? A pause. He wasn't home. Jessica says he's at work. We've contacted his employer. He's a regional sales manager at TechCorp Solutions downtown. They're sending him to the station for questioning. He knew, I said. He had to know. That's what we need to prove. Can you send me full administrator access to that security account? I want to review all archived footage. How far back does it go? Depends on their subscription tier. Could be 30 days, could be 6 months. I pulled up the Safe Home app, added Martinez's email as an administrator. You should have access now. Got it. I'll call you back. He hung up. 2 hours passed. Emma fell asleep. Sedated, Sharon the nurse explained, to manage the pain before surgery. A social worker arrived. Indian woman, maybe 40, wearing professional slacks and a cardigan. Her badge read, Priya Patel, MSW, Child Protective Services, Sacramento County, 18 years. Mr. Torres, I need to conduct an emergency evaluation. Emma's not going back there, I said immediately. I agree, but I need to establish that you can provide full-time care. Current custody arrangement, 50-50, every other other week. Employment status? Construction site supervisor. Morrison Brothers Construction. 11 years. Salary plus benefits. She made notes on her tablet. I'm recommending emergency full custody effective immediately. A judge will formalize it within 72 hours. Thank you. Your daughter is safe now, Mr. Torres. She won't go back to that house. At 6:30 that evening, Martinez returned to the hospital. He looked exhausted. His tie was loosened, jacket off, circles under his eyes. We need to talk, he said. We stepped into the hallway. I couldn't read his expression. Did you find something? We found everything. He pulled out his phone, opened his notes. 6 months of footage. Mr. Torres, your ex-wife has been systematically starving your daughter, locking her in the basement for hours, burning her with cigarettes. That's why she wore long sleeves. The hallway tilted. Derek, he's in 18 videos, sometimes watching, sometimes participating, sometimes holding Emma while Jessica hurt her. I couldn't breathe. Martinez scrolled through his notes. March 14th, 6:32 p.m. Jessica locked Emma in the basement for 3 hours because she asked for dinner twice. Derek was home, did nothing. April 3rd, 7:15 p.m. Derek held Emma's arms behind her back while Jessica burned her upper arm with a cigarette. May 12th, 9:47 p.m. Derek dragged Emma to the basement by her hair. Left her there overnight. Stop, I whispered. Please. There's more, much more, but you get the idea. Where's Derek now? In custody. We picked him up at his office at 4 p.m. He's claiming he had no idea, that Jessica handled all parenting, that he was shocked to learn what happened. That's a lie. I know. The footage proves it. But here's our problem. Martinez's expression darkened. Derek's lawyer is already arguing the footage was obtained illegally. My stomach dropped. What? You gave us access to the account, but Derek owns the subscription. His name, his credit card. His lawyer is claiming we violated his Fourth Amendment rights by accessing his private security system without a warrant. But I had the login. Derek gave it to me for checking on your daughter's forgotten backpack, not for turning over evidence to police. His lawyer is filing a motion to suppress all the footage. Can they do that? They can try. We're arguing exigent circumstances. Emma was in immediate danger. We had probable cause based on her testimony and the visible burns. But it's going to come down to the judge. When? Emergency hearing tomorrow morning. If the judge suppresses the footage, he didn't finish the sentence. He didn't have to. I didn't sleep that night. Sat in the chair next to Emma's bed, watching her breathe, thinking about Jessica and Derek walking free because of a legal technicality. At 7 the next morning, Martinez called. Judge Patricia Moreno is hearing the suppression motion at 9 a.m. You should be there. Will it help? Can't hurt. She needs to see Emma's father, see what's at stake. I kissed Emma's forehead, she was still asleep, and told Sharon I'd be back in 2 hours. The courtroom was small, functional. Derek sat at the defense table with his lawyer, expensive suit, polished shoes, the kind of attorney who charged $500 an hour. Jessica sat separately with a public defender who looked overwhelmed. Judge Moreno entered, late 60s, black woman with steel gray hair and sharp eyes. We're here on defendant Derek Burns' motion to suppress evidence. Mr. Patterson, you're representing Mr. Burns? The expensive lawyer stood. Yes, Your Honor. James Patterson, Patterson and Associates. Your Honor, the footage in question was obtained without a warrant. My client owns the security system. He pays the monthly subscription. The login credentials were shared with Mr. Torres for limited custodial purposes, not for law enforcement access. Your Honor, Martinez stood from the prosecution table. We had exigent circumstances. An 8-year-old child with third-degree burns told us her stepmother held her hands on a stove. Mr. Torres provided access because his daughter was in immediate danger. We would have obtained a warrant, but time was critical. Judge Moreno looked at Derek. Mr. Burns, when did you install this security system? Derek's lawyer answered. October of last year, Your Honor, for home security purposes. And the footage in question shows you participating in child abuse? Your Honor, my client, I asked Mr. Burns. Judge Moreno's voice was ice. Derek swallowed. I didn't participate in anything. I didn't know what was happening. Detective Martinez, how many videos show Mr. Burns present during abuse? Martinez stood. 18, Your Honor. In 12 of those, he actively participates. In 6, he watches without intervening. Judge Moreno opened a folder. I've reviewed a sampling of the footage. The court finds that exigent circumstances existed. An 8-year-old child with severe burns provided testimony implicating her stepmother. The father had legitimate access to the security system and provided it to law enforcement in good faith to protect his child. Motion to suppress is denied. Derek's lawyer stood. Your Honor, we request denied. Sit down, Mr. Patterson. Judge Moreno looked at the prosecutor. Is the people ready to proceed with arraignment? Sandra Kim stood, the deputy DA I'd spoken with on the phone. Yes, Your Honor. Then let's proceed. The arraignment moved quickly. Sandra Kim outlined the charges. Jessica, 17 counts of aggravated child abuse, 4 counts of torture, 3 counts of false imprisonment, 2 counts of assault with a deadly weapon. Derek, 14 counts of child abuse, 4 counts of torture for direct participation, 12 counts of failure to report. Jessica's public defender tried to argue stress, mental illness, undiagnosed postpartum depression lasting 8 years. Judge Moreno cut him off. The footage shows premeditation. Your client waited until the child was alone. She hid the abuse under long sleeves. She manipulated custody schedules. That's not mental illness, counselor. That's calculated cruelty. Derek's lawyer tried to claim his client was manipulated by an abusive spouse. Your client held a child while his wife burned her with a cigarette, Judge Moreno said flatly. The footage is date-stamped April 3rd at 7:15 p.m. Would you like me to play it in open court? Patterson sat down. Judge Moreno looked at Sandra Kim. Does the people have a bail recommendation? Remand without bail, Your Honor. Both defendants are flight risks. Mr. Burns attempted to leave the state when served with a warrant. Mrs. Burns has family in Mexico and holds a valid passport. The evidence is overwhelming. Date-stamped, time-stamped video footage showing systematic torture of a child over 6 months. Granted, both defendants remanded without bail pending trial. Jessica's face crumpled. Her mother sobbed in the gallery. Judge Moreno continued. Mrs. Burns, you installed cameras to protect your property. Those cameras documented you torturing your daughter for 6 months. The footage is backed up to cloud storage you paid for with your credit card. There is no defense here. She turned to Derek. Mr. Burns, you participated in 12 documented incidents. You watched 6 more without intervening. California law requires mandatory reporting of child abuse under Section 1166. You violated that law 12 times while actively torturing a child. Derek stared at the table. Trial is set for January 14th. We're adjourned. The gavel struck. Emma's surgery happened that afternoon. Dr. Rashid worked for 4 hours, rebuilding tissue, grafting skin, trying to save what could be saved. I sat in the waiting room thinking about Derek and Jessica in county jail, thinking about 6 months of footage they'd recorded themselves. At 2:30, Dr. Rashid emerged. The surgery went well. She'll need extensive physical therapy, but she'll regain 70 to 80% function. She'll always have scars, but she'll be able to use her hands. I cried then. The trial lasted 2 weeks in January. The prosecution presented the footage methodically. Every incident documented. Jurors cried. One had to leave during the May 12th footage. Jessica laughing while Emma begged for food. The defense called no witnesses. What could they say? The cameras showed everything. On January 29th, the jury deliberated for 2 hours. Guilty on all counts. Jessica showed no emotion. Derek wept. Sentencing happened on March 1st. Judge Moreno looked at both defendants. You tortured a child. You starved her. You burned her. You documented every moment on cameras you installed to protect your property. She paused. The security system you installed recorded everything. Every crime. Every moment. That footage will follow you for the rest of your lives. Jessica's mother screamed from the gallery. Emma Torres is 8 years old. She will carry your scars forever. You were supposed to protect her. Instead, you destroyed her childhood. The gavel fell. Jessica Burns, 22 years. Derek Burns, 18 years. Were adjourned. The cameras they'd installed to keep intruders out had caught the real monsters inside. And now they'd spend the next 2 decades thinking about those 14 seconds when Jessica held Emma's hands on that stove.